Hello everyone, my name is Kirtish Maurya. I am a final year engineering student in the Department of Electronics and Telecommunication at Jorhat Institute of Science and Technology. In this video, I'll be talking about thyristor. A thyristor is a solid-state semiconductor device with four layers of alternating p and n-type materials. It has three terminals that are named anode, cathode, and gate. A thyristor is also unidirectional, just like a diode, which means that it allows the flow of current in only one direction. Now, a thyristor family has many members like the gate turn-off thyristor, the insulated gate bipolar transistor, triac, diac, and the silicon control rectifier or the SCR. However, SCR is so widely used that over time thyristor has become synonymous with the SCR. Hence, thyristor is also known as the silicon control rectifier or the SCR, and it is called so because silicon is used in its construction and its operation as a rectifier can be controlled. Now let's see the symbol and the schematic diagram of a thyristor. Here we can see the symbol. This is the symbol of a thyristor. It has three terminals, the anode, the cathode, and the gate, and the signal required to turn on the thyristor is applied at the gate. And this is the schematic diagram. Here we can see it consists of four alternate layers of P and N, P and PN, and it contains three junctions J1, J2, and J3. Now let's see how a thyristor is different from a transistor. Now, first of all, in terms of layers, thyristor has four layers of PNPN, and a transistor has three layers. It is either PNP or NPN. In case of terminals, both thyristor and transistor have three terminals. Thyristor has anode, cathode, and gate, and transistor has emitter, collector, and base. And in terms of the voltage and current required for operation, a thyristor needs a much higher voltage and current compared to a transistor. For turning on a thyristor, a gate pulse is required, whereas for turning on a transistor, a continuous supply of the current is required. Now, in terms of power loss, the power loss in a thyristor is lower than a transistor, and in a transistor, the power loss is higher. Now, let's see the VI characteristics of a thyristor. So, this is the basic circuit that is required to obtain the VI characteristic of a thyristor. Here we can see a thyristor whose anode and cathode are connected to a voltage supply E through a load. In addition to that, the gate and the cathode is also connected to a supply ES. This ES is used for generation of the gate current which flows from the gate to the cathode. Now let's see the VI characteristics. Here we can see various terms like the reverse blocking mode, forward blocking mode, and the forward conduction mode. These three are the modes of operation. We will discuss it in details later. Now let's see the remaining terms. VBO is the forward breakdown voltage and VBR is the reverse breakdown voltage. VBR is the voltage at which the reverse breakdown occurs. VBO is the voltage after which the thyristor becomes on, that is goes into conduction. And these two terms, latching current and holding current. Latching current is the minimum current required to turn on the thyristor, and holding current is the minimum current that is required by the thyristor to maintain conduction. That means below the holding current the thyristor turns off. Now from this figure we can clearly see there are three modes of operation. Now let's discuss them. The modes of operation of a thyristor. The first one is the reverse blocking mode. In this mode, the cathode is made positive with respect to anode and the switch is kept open. Hence, the junctions J1 and J3 are reverse biased, and the junction J2 is forward biased. Hence, a reverse voltage flows across the thyristor, which drives the SCR into reverse blocking region, and it results in the flow of a small leakage current. Hence, the device offers a high impedance in this mode until the voltage applied is less than the reverse breakdown voltage of the thyristor. Now, if the reverse applied voltage is increased beyond the breakdown voltage, then avalanche breakdown occurs at junction J1 and J3, which results in the increased reverse current flow. After this comes the forward blocking mode. In this mode, anode is made positive with respect to the cathode, Junction J1 and J3 are forward biased and J2 is reverse biased. Hence, due to this, a small leakage current flows through the thyristor until the voltage applied across the thyristor is more than the breakover voltage. The thyristor offers a very high resistance to the current. Therefore, the thyristor acts as an open switch in this mode by blocking forward current flowing through the thyristor. Now, the last mode is the forward conduction mode. In this mode, as the forward voltage is increased, avalanche occurs at the junction J2 and the SCR comes into conduction. Now we can also turn on the SCR at the moment by giving a positive gate pulse between the gate and the cathode. So this was all about the modes of operation. Now let's move on to the thyristor triggering methods, which means the methods by which a thyristor can be turned on. The first one is the forward voltage triggering. So by applying a forward voltage between the anode and the cathode and keeping the gate circuit open, we can see that the junction J1 and J3 are forward biased and the J2 is reverse biased, and hence a depletion region starts to form across the reverse biased junction J2. Now as the forward current is increased, as the forward voltage is increased, there a stage comes when the depletion region almost vanishes, and at that moment J2 is said to have avalanche breakdown, and due to this breakdown the thyristor comes into conduction state. Now the next method is the gate triggering. Now it is the most common and reliable ways of turning on the thyristor. In gate triggering, a positive voltage is applied between the gate and the cathode, which gives rise to a gate current, and the charge gets injected into the inner P layer and forward breakdown occurs. Higher the gate current, lower the forward breakdown voltage, which means that as we keep increasing the gate current, the breakdown occurs at much less voltages and the SCR gets turned on quickly. The next is the dV by dt triggering. In forward blocking state, junction J1 and J3 are forward biased and J2 is reverse biased. Hence, the junction J2 means the overall junctions behave as a capacitor, and the junction J1 and J3 acts as the conducting plates of a capacitor, and the junction J2 acts as a dielectric due to the space charges in the depletion region. Now the charging current equation of a capacitor is given as I is equal to C into dV by dt, where dV by dt is the rate of change of applied voltage and C is the junction capacitance. Hence from this equation, if the rate of change of applied voltage is larger, then this leads to the increase in the charging current, which is enough to increase the value of alpha. Hence the SCR becomes turned on even without using a gate signal. The next method is the temperature triggering. Now, when the thyristor is in forward blocking mode, most of the applied voltage collects over the junction J2, and this voltage is associated with some leakage current which flows across the junction, and due to the flowing of this current, the temperature of the junction J2 increases. So with increasing temperature, the depletion layer decreases, and at some very high temperature, that is when a very high current flows and hence the temperature also increases, the depletion layer breaks and there is an avalanche breakdown of the junction J2 and the SCR comes to the on state. Now the last method is the light triggering method. Now SCR that is turned on by the light is called the light activated SCR or the LASCR. In this method, the light rays with appropriate wavelength and intensity are allowed to strike the junction J2. Now, these type of SCRs are consisting a niche or a hollow region in the inner P layer. Therefore, when the light strikes on this niche, electron hole pairs are generated at the junction J2, which provides additional charge carriers at the junction, which leads to the turning on of the SCR. So, hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.